So I basically want to describe what I did here. I think what I did is sort of novel. So basically, I don't know if people have done this before. People probably have, but maybe not in this way. This is sort of a workflow that I was thinking about, and finally, this turned out really nicely. There's the new version of, you know, ChatGPT Codex, and I'm pretty happy with this. So this VS Code project launcher is what I had created. This is a simple little application, but it's more the principle here that I want to share. So basically, all these Godot files, I did not open Godot once, except when I actually clicked the run launcher.bat. And you know what this is doing is basically having a Godot application, and it's sort of running, I'm not sure I'm using the correct terminology, but it's sort of running headless per se. So with that said, I'll go over what I did somewhat. So I started with ChatGPT, and basically just to write the prompt. So I said, you know, this is sort of what I was asking it to do, and I'm sort of saying, maybe we can use Godot, maybe Codex, and basically, yeah. So what I want to do, you know, because Godot uses all these text files that, if you're actually using the graphical user interface of the engine, then you're seeing it all in the engine as you're building it. But it can all just be done via text, basically, because they're all like either like sort of like INI files, or just, you know, script files, or TCSN or TS, whatever that their file extension are. You know, as you can see, like yeah, tscn.gd. These can all basically be created, and then I put the application in here with it, which you could actually point it, but I'm just using it to sort of for efficiency right now. But basically, then what I did, I built this little project launcher. So I figured, well, Godot has a project launcher, it's really useful. I lose track of where I save VS Code projects, so I thought, well, basically, let's create an app to sort of create like a little launcher for VS Code. So you can paste in the folder path of where your project is, and you can click them here, and then this information will display, and then you can click launch in VS Code. And this is just version 1. I may organize it later, you know, have maybe some tabs or collapsible menus, whatever else. But yeah, basically, so I started sort of developing this idea in ChatGPT in the browser to start, and you know, I thought about some various options and explored some options, and then after this, then I wrote a prompt. So let's make this happen, yada yada yada, and I guess that actually gave me a prompt. Well, actually, no, I just copied some of this. Yeah, if you've used ChatGPT a lot, you can sort of jump around. And then so I said, yeah, let's go with this path where we're actually using Godot instead of Electron or whatever else it's suggesting as possibilities. And then I think this is interesting with Godot because, again, I did not open the editor at all when I created this. I had ChatGPT Codex in VS Code do this whole thing for me. So basically, you know, I had it create a .getignore, and basically creates all these. So the first version didn't work, so then what I did later on, I prompted it to say, okay, when we run this, now create a log folder, and then if, you know, put the logs in there, and then if it doesn't work, so basically, yeah, it didn't work the first time, then I added this thing in Codex to have it, you know, create the log thing, and then I copied the logs and put it back into Codex, and then it fixed it, so then it worked all nice. So yeah, with that said, so I developed this idea, and then yada yada. So then finally, it gave me a prompt for Codex. I guess it's Godot 4.6.1. I should update the custom instructions. And it gave me this prompt, and it was decent. I sort of skimmed through it, and then, but I said, yeah. So you know, like as far as the paths, I had it do that, and then it updated it. I'm not even, you know, it's all goes sort of fast when you do it, so it's like hard to keep track of because you're sort of going along with it. But yeah, I think again the idea, like I have this idea now of doing graphical stuff with Gemini, so I updated the prompt for Codex. It, by the way, Gemini in VS Code, because I have that too. I need to re-add the icon, but whatever, I'll do that later. And then so it did this, and then once I had this, you know, I did like blah blah blah, asked it a question clarifying, and then okay, goal, and then what did I say here? I said like yeah, no export, no compile. Yeah, I mean, I just clarify things. You just got to sort of clarify, and then just gave me an updated thing. So I said no, regenerate the whole prompt, and then a prompt I like to add is, so if I'm asking for something and I don't want more like stuff around it, I just want to be able to copy the whole thing. I just say, so like create whatever, and then only that. Well, this is the key part here: nothing more, nothing less, nothing before, nothing after. Then you get just what you want. You can copy it. So I did that, and then that's when I started actually plugging it into VS Code. I'm not going to go through the whole conversation in Codex, but it prompts you now. It's actually better than it was how it prompts, because you can say yes, no, or you sort of write in your own suggestion or whatever. So yeah, did that, and again, I basically had it run headless. So I use run launcher, and I won't open up the bat file, but basically it will it doesn't you don't need to compile it, although you could, but this basically just runs it headless, and then it opens up the project as if you were doing a debug. So you can basically use this as a functional program, and then it just opens an empty console window, which is not that big of a deal. There might be a way to hide it, I'm not sure, but either way, you basically have the application open, don't have to compile it. So it's almost like using a scripting language, which is very convenient and handy, especially for iteration. And again, I'm not going to click around, but I can add a bunch of projects. And again, my point, this may not work very well, but my point is, with Godot, if you want to, you can just have VS Code and ChatGPT Codex or Gemini or whatever else just create all the files for you, and you just need to be clear on what you're wanting and how you want the interface to be. And you don't actually need to do it in the editor. I probably could open this in the Godot editor, and I don't know what I'd see. It might not be very much, or it might be the different nodes. I didn't really check that, but maybe I will later. So yeah, with that said, I actually didn't ask a whole lot more here. It didn't create a .bat at first, then I said, let's create a .bat, and then I fed that back into VS Code, and then yeah, so with that said, I have this going here, and I copied it in. Yeah, so it really wasn't actually that long ago. Sometimes when I do stuff with ChatGPT, very long conversations. Now here it might have been a little bit longer of a conversation, but you get my drift. So yeah, basically this is what the result was. And again, you have a Godot project, and it's you don't have to do anything in the editor, just create Godot projects behind the scenes. And I guess the next thing would be to open it in the editor. And I've done this before, where I've done something like this before, and then it didn't show all the nodes in the editor quite properly, but I'm sure with prompting I could probably get it to do that, so it would open up cleanly in the editor as if it was built by hand and a bunch of clicking and whatever else. So it's sort of a way to automate Godot in certain ways, or to partially automate Godot, in my opinion. Yeah, I think this is an interesting workflow. I'm actually probably going to use this more. I have an idea next. Basically, I want to create a Godot project that will create images that are compatible with ServUO and Classic UO and UO Fiddler, but then generate totally unique assets and make them sort of fit the perspective that is Classic UO with UO Fiddler and stuff that axonometric, diametric 2-to-1 projection that has an intuitive looking angle, but not an actual angle if you think about it, but does some stuff with the perspective. But yeah, Godot is really flexible, and ChatGPT is pretty flexible, and VS Code is pretty flexible. And again, this is a workflow. If you want to be able to basically create Godot applications without actually opening the Godot program to do anything by hand, just basically automate it. You could probably do something with OpenClaw. This probably has possibilities that you could do stuff with OpenClaw also. So anyway, food for thought. If you create something with this sort of ideas, please post it in the comments. Yeah, I want to see what you do. I hope this is helpful to anybody in the Godot community who wants to do stuff with AI and vibe coding and try to automate their Godot processes to a certain extent. I'm not sure how complex this could be. Of course, as AI gets better and better, it can probably create more and more complex things. Like when I've done this before, the interface that Godot created wasn't that great, but actually I was really happy with this interface as far as the quality of it and sort of just the design of it. It feels very clean. So, and again, it's just a launcher. I just wanted to create you've seen the Godot launcher if you know what Godot is. So it's sort of like that. If you have a bunch of VS Code projects all over your system, this is a way to sort of organize them and launch them potentially. So again, but the focus is not what I created. The focus is my workflow with Godot and ChatGPT and VS Code and potentially other things, whether OpenClaw or Gemini or so forth. So anyway, yeah, if you have any questions or comments that are constructive, post them in the comments. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, bless up and limitless peace.